Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Transformation Tuesday, June 24th, and welcome to another new episode of Style by Stevie. Again, double show. Both interviews will be merged. We have J Films joining me at 4. But first up, our very special guest is an actor, writer, public speaker, and director, hailing all the way from the Houston, Missouri City area. And I'm super excited to have him here in the dollhouse. Without further ado, let's welcome Jason Thibodeaux. Welcome, welcome, welcome as you come in. Let me share this live with my first special guest so that we can get this interview started. I hope you all are keeping cool as I am. Baby, this heat wave, this heat wave. Make sure y'all are staying cool out here and drinking lots of water. Definitely. Let me let him know that I am on and I sent the live. Shout outs to my colleague Alvin. Let me stand up so y'all can see the dress. Did y'all get into the look for today? Look at that, honey. Yes. Ooh. Oh my goodness. All right. So without further ado, Fashion Dolls, let's get right into our very first show. I'm going to merge both guests together. J Films will be joining me at 4. We got a filmmaker and we got a director, we got a writer and actor. Please welcome to the dollhouse, Jason Thibodeaux. Hello.
Miss Stevie, how you doing?
I am doing fabulous yourself. Welcome to the dollhouse.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And yes, I am doing fabulous. I was looking forward to this all week.
Yes, we had something originally set and then we had to reschedule, but it's all right. We got it. We're here now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I must say that we had a wonderful conversation. And thank you for being able to reschedule me and stuff. That meant the world to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before we kick off this interview, how has 2025 been for you so far?
2025 has been excellent, especially from an acting standpoint. Getting some recognition where I would have colleagues that would say, "Hey, you're doing a great job" and everything else. But I've been put up as a nominee for a couple of award shows. It has definitely been
I
a blessing.
see.
Another award show coming up. I think it's next month or so. And I mean, I feel blessed. I definitely feel blessed.
Yes, congratulations. Congrats is in order. And you are going to get this. We talked about this yesterday I did three interviews yesterday in one
Uh-huh.
day. And I accidentally scheduled them both at the same time. I had one set for 4 p.m. So my guest, I didn't even have a flyer made for him or anything. And I said, you know what? Let's just do a three-way. And we did two interviews
Mm-hmm.
first. And then my guest came on for 4 at 4. So it was pretty good. We did three interviews yesterday. So it's all about
Awesome.
finding balance and things aligning. And that was one of the things that the gentleman touched on the panel yesterday. We touched on a
Mm-hmm.
360 full circle moment. So for you getting these nominations, that is a full 360 full circle moment. It's going to happen.
Absolutely. I received that. I definitely received that. Especially as I get an opportunity to continue to work with wonderful people. I get a chance to express myself, in film, stage as well. And, also, like I said, author. So, I haven't written in a book in a while, but, it's great to have an outlet. I was doing a podcast on Sunday, and focus of the podcast was men's mental health, and that was
It
one
is
of the things that I
Mental
kept
Health
talking
Awareness
about
Month. Yeah.
is having an outlet, a positive outlet. Something to do outside of your norm, your household. Whether it's golf, whether tennis, whatever. Is having a positive outlet to where that way you can express yourself.
Absolutely. And Alvin, I saw your comment. Yes, y'all know what I meant. But yes, June is Mental Health Awareness Month for men. And
Hmm.
that's something I wanted to touch on with you. Black men predominantly, the Black collective predominantly, we don't
Hmm.
talk enough about mental health within our community because for so long it's been shunned. We
Correct.
continue to sweep it up under the rug and say, well, oh no, Th- We don't need to go to therapy. Ain't nothing wrong with you, you know. And then
Mm-hmm.
what God says, just talk to God about it. But faith without work is dead. God put therapists here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Sometimes you want an outside opinion. You don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to have the family opinion, because sometimes you'll butt heads, but sometimes it's always great to have that outside opinion. And
Right.
what advice would you give to Black men as it pertains? Because we've seen more and more Black men open up about their experiences with mental health, and
Mm-hmm.
rappers are doing it. I mean, we can go down a list here from, I think Lil Wayne spoke out, Big Sean
Mm-hmm.
spoke out about it, Vic Mensa just recently spoke out about it. We just seen the podcast with Cam Newton and
Mm-hmm.
Woody, and how they were talking about mental health and fatherhood and these things.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question for you is, what advice would you give to Black men as it pertains to mental health and opening up?
Wonderful question. Wonderful question. One of the things that I promote, little backstory, I used to mentor high school boys for a local church for about 8+ years. My focus, we would talk about everything from our health to computers, social media, how to tie a tie. And I would focus on tools and, making sure that men are men, you learn how to do something, because if you have your mother or a woman in the house, you need to be able to fix things, right? But in this group, and this was something I was hitting on Sunday, is that every man should have a group of men doing positive things that they can talk to. And one of the things I talked about was, even though I myself was mentoring younger high school boys, right? I said, one of the things that people don't see or didn't think of is the fact that I was also getting mentored by the elders that were in the group. And one of the things that I was also talking about is that if you look at a lot of the younger culture that we have now, that mentorship is not there. A lot of these groups are not there, and some of it is literally the young men doing it to themselves, and they're starting to recognize that. But also, I come from a little bit older. You see the gray hair. I'm a little older, and one of the things that we would have is we would get checked by uncles. If you weren't moving right, they would check you in a heartbeat. Hey, dude, what you doing? I see you over there moving. Let's have a conversation real quick, right? I got that same mentorship from these men in that group. If I wasn't moving right, whether it was with my wife, my kids, whatever I was doing, they would say, "Hey, Jason, let me holler at you real quick. This is what I noticed. It's what I'm seeing, true. And if it is true, straighten up." Because if you got to think about it. If somebody outside of your household is seeing this, that means that the world is seeing this, right? You don't need social media. I mean, just out in public, they're seeing how you move. And that's what I tell a lot of these young men is that, outside of social media, your posture and how you move around says a lot about you and your upbringing. So one of the things I always recommend is having a group of positive men to be around that will check each other, that will actually say something. And if that doesn't work and you're still having feelings and you're still have unresolved issues, seek professional help. I mean, you got people who are trained, you got counselors and stuff that are trained
Yes.
to be able to take on your energy and help you through what it is that you're dealing with. And that's very important.
And important more than ever in these
Mm-hmm.
times that we form community and have that solid group of people around you, that village, that tribe around you, helping you out every step of the way. Now, for you,
Absolutely.
you were born and raised in Houston, Missouri City, and you got
Correct.
into entertainment through your high school marching band. So we
Mm-hmm.
need more programs like this that help our youth, boys and girls out here, as it pertains to mental health. Now, this
Absolutely.
Alvin,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna try to behave. This
Hey, cut up, Stevie. Let's
administration,
let's have fun. Let's have fun. Like I said, you don't have to behave. Let's have fun. We're gonna help some people out here. We're gonna have a
yes,
good time.
as we're seeing with this administration, they're rolling back, they're cutting programs that are
Mm-hmm.
helping our Black boys and girls. So now, when I seen that this administration, I'm gonna try to behave, Alvin. Jason say cut up, but I don't. I'm pretty sure he is not. I'm trying to keep the seatbelt on. I'm gonna be a lady today because I can go be a savage. For this administration, I've been having to be a savage lately. But what we're seeing right now is them take away and pull programs from our youth. Like when I seen
Hmm.
they wanted to get rid of job force, I'm like, do you know how many students this would impact? 40,000 kids out here. We need
Right.
more programs like this, the marching band. We need more like the
Hmm.
Boys and Girls Club. I don't even know if they still do that anymore. And I remember Denzel
Some.
Washington was
Hmm.
the spokesperson for it, ambassador for it. So we need more programs like this for our youth out here as it
Hmm.
pertains keeping them out of trouble, as it
Correct.
pertains to helping them grow up in the world and to make a better living for themselves. We need this because not everybody grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth, unlike the
Hmm.
occupants of
Yeah.
Alvin. Y'all know I'm trying. I'm trying so hard because not every one of my guests is political, but lately for me it's been very political with seeing, as a black woman, seeing everything that is going on in this country. You can't help
Hmm.
but speak out because you're going to be soon targeted in some sort of way or impacted in some sort of way. So
Absolutely.
I think we need more of these programs out here to help our youth out, to keep them out of trouble, to keep them out of
Right.
heading on the wrong path. And it was a TV show that did that. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with it called Beyond Scared Straight, where they would send the kids to
Hmm.
school, kids who were at risk, kids who did not want to listen. And some of these kids came out all right, and some of them didn't make it. So
Correct.
I think we need more of these programs to help them out. But with
Oh
this
yeah.
administration, that's going to be impossible because if you have a shade of brown in your skin,
Hmm.
we're seeing them roll back and take away things that can help and benefit us. We will be the ones hurting. So now, as it pertains to what Jason just said, it is time for us to go ahead and reach out to your neighbor. If you haven't had a conversation with your neighbor or family members, pick up that phone and call them right now more than ever. And as it pertains to our youth, our children, black boys and girls, I don't have kids. I have a fur baby. I have a toy poodle.
Hmm.
And I have a 2 year old nephew, but I want him to grow up in this world knowing that he can get a decent education and not be prosecuted for trying to get a decent education because of the color of his skin.
Correct.
And
And
we're
I mean
seeing
something
that.
something to think about is that growing up, especially in junior high and high school, for me, I graduated high school in '95. And you used to have things like the marching band. You had things like the ROTC program, which of course they're going to keep that one. But then you also had your wood shops. You had your home ec type stuff where it teach you how to keep a house. They don't do this stuff anymore. And you have to think why. And one of the reasons why, and we can get a little political because a backstory on me is that a gentleman that is like my stepfather that I grew up around actually just released another article of impeachment against our current president. So he is a sitting congressman. So if you think about who keeps pushing impeachment that's from Texas as a sitting congressman, then you realize who it is that I grew up around without saying his name. But I always grew up around the NAACP. Around my mom worked in the criminal court system. Growing up, her judge was black, so I used to see the letters that the KKK would actually write to him, threatening his life. You know, they was going to hang him. They was going to cut off his genitals. They was going to do all of this other stuff, right? So I grew up seeing and being around all of this stuff. My parents are from the country. So, you had to be careful about certain times of the day, certain tracks you didn't go across, if you know
Sundown,
what I mean. My mom
sundown.
went through integration with, in high school and stuff, especially in this country town. So you hear the stories, you see, the growth, but you also see the regression. And it's mainly because if you think about it, I'm a Gen X guy. And what's really bothering me is that the people I grew up with were supposed to be different. They weren't supposed to be like their parents. Now, as they start getting some type of resources, as they grew up, they turned right into their parents, trying to keep other people down. And these are people I used to play with in the streets, hanging out and everything else, and everything was cool. But now these are the same people who would definitely take food off of my plate if they could. So yes, like you was talking about with our current sitting commander and thief, I mean, basically, yes, they want to kill these programs, and a lot of it is because if you really think about it, whenever you have these programs that create free thinking, basically are your creative programs, band, wood shop, auto shop, all of this other stuff. When people are free thinkers, they're more likely to stand up for themselves and actually and actually question the things that are going on. They want people to be sheep. They want people to be stupid. They want people to be uneducated because they just go along with whatever it is that you say. Everything is based off of emotion and not actual fact.
How long have I been saying this, Fashion Dolls? And my colleague, Alvin, tit for tat, this and that, make sure you guys head on over, subscribe to his platform, is in the Texas area. And he says that
Hmm.
I'm worried about drafting my son for this impending war. We definitely
Correct.
have these sundown
Hmm.
town roads in these rural areas in Texas. And when I think of Texas, 'cause I'm in the red state of South Carolina, I think of Galveston. I think of how
Hmm.
Texas had black businesses
Oh
flourishing,
yeah.
the history of Galveston. And one of my good girlfriends, Nikki Brown, she's in the Texas
Hmm.
area. I said, girl, you got Jasmine Crockett, you got Rep Al Green up there.
Hmm.
So we got Lindsey Graham, Tim Scott, and Nancy Mace. And now you
Hmm.
got Lindsey Graham out here talking about he's running for reelection. And I'm pretty sure y'all have seen the commercial. Their campaign and their policies are hate, division,
Exactly.
bigotry. If you have a shade of brown in your skin, you will be targeted in this country.
Hmm.
And we're seeing that right now with these raids, with these mass deportations. They have a quota to meet, and it's
Exactly.
3,000 deportations a day. And now we're seeing these facilities be packed. It's
Hmm.
not sanitary. You have people getting sick, not having a change of clothes, not having decent food to eat, not having their medications or medical care. And this bill that they're trying to pass, I'm pretty sure if you don't know about the big, it's nothing beautiful about it. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. I'm
Hmm.
sexy. I'm all of that. But this bill is not. There's nothing beautiful about it. And
Correct.
as Jason just said, what this bill would do would take food out of the mouths of our babies. This would
Hmm.
take, this would raise the prices. And for us, the consumers, because when he got in, the 34-time convicted felon in chief, twice impeached, 79-year-old draft dodger,
Hmm.
got up here and ran off of, I can lower the prices of eggs, I can lower the prices of gas. And you pissed off our allies and they've turned their backs on us.
Hmm.
So you got into a trade war with, who was it? China, Canada. Canada literally pulling alcohol off of their shelves. They're saying, "Oh no, we're not
Yep.
paying for this." And the guy there said, "We would be happy to cut off your electric supply to the United States of America."
Absolutely.
So what he's doing now, talking about y'all don't know what you're doing. It's not Democrats or people that are out here doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's you. You don't know what you're doing. You went in the
Exactly.
nut house and you opened the nut house and you put people from that nut house in your cabinet.
Hmm.
That's what you
Absolutely.
did. So it's not
And I,
a us problem. It's not a
right.
black or brown person's problem or a trans
It's
person's
them.
problem.
It's a hate
It's a you
problem.
problem. It's a white
Hmm.
supremacist problem. You
Correct.
ran off of that. And Stephen
Absolutely.
Miller, you want to know who the real president is. If you go and you watch The Wizard of Oz, you go and you see that one scene at the end where they find out who the Wiz is, and it's that little guy on the tread, well, on the bicycle riding. They pull back the
Hmm.
curtain. The shadow president is Stephen Miller, the Heritage Foundation. And what's the other guy's name that they just put in the position of Elon Musk? Russ Vought. They are white
Mm.
supremacists. And to see this video circulating of them talk praying, I was like, the hypocrisy. You want to talk about putting the 10 commandments in the classroom, but half of y'all don't even follow the goddamn 10 commandments.
Yep. Absolutely.
You're
You
the
hit the nail on
biggest
the head.
hypocrites. This man
Yep.
slept with a porn star. And thank God for Stormy Daniels, because we already knew. We know you are a convicted felon. And by the way,
Hmm.
while you're at it, since we're talking about taxing the rich, you might as well go on ahead and pay E. Jean Carroll her money. Pay her
Yeah.
money. You owe her $88 million. And we know you watching, Don. We're not afraid of you. We're letting you know right
At
now.
all. I mean, he's not
You
going
are
to do
a
it. He's
coward.
not going to bust a grape in a fruit fight. He's not going to do anything himself. He's just going to send his cronies like he did on January 6th. The a real person of power respects power. He doesn't respect it, and he just wants to win at all costs. And I used to, of course, if you listen to a lot of 90s and 2000s rap, they used to actually give him props because it was always perceived that he was this cool guy that had all of his money. He hung around the parties, everything, etc. And what happened with me is, of course, I used to like him a little bit until he started getting into politics. But even right before he got into politics, I started reading some of his books and looking into some of his
The
business
art of the
affairs.
deal.
And then I
Let me
started to
guess.
realize this dude is about as crooked as a roach leg. I mean, basically, he'll sit here and build all of these buildings, and the first thing he'll do is file bankruptcy so that way he doesn't have to pay his contractors.
Six
You
times
know what I mean?
bankrupt.
Absolutely.
Six
How do
times.
you bankrupt a casino? You basically print money, and you bankrupted a casino. You bankrupted all of these other businesses, but you're this great businessman and you talk about the art of the deal. Well, the deal, if you're bullying people in the deal, that's not really an art. That's just abuse of power or perceived power, right? So I've had some people that was like, well, you just don't like Trump now because of what he's saying in politics. I was like, no, actually, I stopped liking him beforehand because I believe in good business. And in good business, everybody wins. Sometimes you're going to take a L, sometimes you're going to take a W, but technically everybody wins at some point, right? And with him, everybody around him has to take an L, even his family. Think about it. During his first term, he threw even his own family members under the bus. Who does that? I mean,
A
he wants to sleep with
psychopath.
his own daughter. I mean, that's very telling of the type of person that he is. He tried to figure out what would be considered incest if you really pay attention. If you go look at some of the released tapes, and of course during these interviews, I think it was with God dog it, what's that dude's name? Black. I can't think of his name. The dude with the glasses. But this is years ago, probably 10, 15, 20 years ago. He's doing an interview with him, and of course they cut for a commercial. Well, even though they don't show you what's all going on, most of the time those cameras are still going.
He
And
always
he's
gets
talking
caught on
about what's
live.
incest, and he's talking about, he was giving his wife a paternity test trying to see if that's really his daughter. Because as far as he was concerned, she was on the chopping block, if you know what I mean, because he wanted to see if he could legally mess with her and potentially not get in trouble for it. And then he asked her, and I don't know what we can and can't say on your show, but he asked the dude if oral was considered incest. And then right after that, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, they back into the interview. And I was like, grab him by the pee. I mean, all of this other stuff.
They let you do it. He said they let you do it. And Jeffrey
And they do
Epstein
when you have
writes it all
power.
down.
Yeah, when you have perceived power, but it still doesn't make you. It doesn't make you not a predator. You're still a predator. Just because you
And the
have
people
power
that make
doesn't
it
mean that you're
happen.
not a predator.
I mean, you
You know what I
got
mean?
today is the New York elections, and you've got Andrew Cuomo, who is running
Mm-hmm.
for mayor. He is Trump aligned. Now, I don't know why he chose to run as Democrat. You might as well go on ahead and put your red hat on too and join the
Correct.
Republicans at this point because you are aligned with him. You are a predator, just like the I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, Shitler.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like
I
Shitler
like that
in the
term.
White House.
Yep.
Have also been accused by what 13 women, if I'm not mistaken. 13
Mm-hmm.
women came forth. And this one right here, when did I start not liking Donald Trump? When he stepped his ass off of that escalator in 2016. And what did he say about Mexican folks? And y'all went out here and y'all overwhelmingly voted for him after we, as Black people who have experienced 400
Mm-hmm.
years of oppression and racism from not only him, but from slavery, from all of these, history shows that this
Mm-hmm.
man has
Absolutely.
said that from the exonerated five to when he said that he would prefer a short guy with yarmulke to count his money because blacks are lazy.
Right.
And then he got up here, and what did he say? I don't know if she's black. Did she turn black? The NABJ. So I don't blame the NAACP for not inviting him. Why would you even consider a thought of inviting him anyway, knowing what he's going to do? He is going to
Correct.
do dog whistle politics. That's what he doubles
Mm-hmm.
down on. Two Democratic officials have lost their life as a result to Donald Trump. And you want to know what he did? What did he call them? The Marxists, the Democratic
Yeah.
Marxists. He gets up on
Absolutely.
Truth Social 2 and 3 in the morning, and we don't hear about it until the next day. This is a madman. This is a psychopath. He is a
Right.
megalomaniac. He is a zygote. He is a demon. He is a fascist. He is a white supremacist. He is a white terrorist. That's what he is. And this administration, unqualified. So for Linda
Hmm.
McMahon, if we're on the conversation of talking about education, couldn't even answer a simple question that was asked to her. The
Correct.
woman said, instead of AI, which is artificial intelligence, what did she say, Alvin? She said A1. I said, Father, God help me. This can't be serious right now. We're literally living in the twilight zone. Did this woman just say A1 as in A1 steak sauce?
Right. Right. She need to go back and focus on WWE like her husband used to do or whatever, something, entertainment. And I mean, our defense secretary is a 22-year-old that used to do groceries, work at a grocery place.
And
I mean,
he
come
was a
on.
gardener too. He was a
Yeah, a
gardener.
gardener or something. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's sad. So you're actually taking out qualified people, even of the same hue, that look like you, but they're qualified to put in other people who will bow to to your needs or,
No,
what
it's
you
about
want. That's ridiculous. But then you
it's
turn
about
around
liberty.
and you try to act like you're not trying to be a dictator while clearly telling people that you want to be a dictator. I mean, it's crazy. And then when you say something to people, like I know people who are Trump supporters. I had my UPS lady. I forgot what she said. I think she's Puerto Rican or something like that. And she was like, "If you don't mind me asking, how did you vote?" And I was like, "Well, it definitely wasn't for the Cheeto dude. I don't trust him." And she's like, "Largely, my family voted for him and everything else." And I'm sitting here like, "Okay, that's cool." And I was like, I'm not sure if everybody in your family is legal, but if they're not, you'll soon find out. Like the lady that was singing the "I Will Vote for Donald Trump" out in Florida or wherever that was, they kept showing it that all these Latinas are sitting here supporting him. All these Cubans are supporting him. Her husband is in an entertainment center right now. And she's been crying all over the internet and everything else because here she is saying, I sang at your rallies, talking about, getting my people to vote for you and everything else. And now you came and picked my husband up. And I was
He
like, well,
not
what
gonna
did you
get him
think was
out.
going to happen?
He'll pardon Larry Hoover. He'll pardon NBA YoungBoy, but he can get
Right.
your husband out. He'll let Todd Chrisley out. And what it took was for
Mm-hmm.
to listen to Todd Chrisley to say, "Hey, they're not getting the same privileges I'm getting. Of course
Right.
not." And that's what it is. It's if you're white, you are qualified. What did they say? Merit.
Mm-hmm.
Merit is what they're going off of. Now you have these lunatics, these goons who are in charge of DHS, the
Mm-hmm.
military. They have infiltrated all of the branches of government
Yep.
from legislative, executive. You have the Supreme Court yesterday who just ruled that basically he can deport anybody that is an American citizen out of this country.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care if you're legally here, born or not. We are now in the show me your papers stage. So don't send me no funny videos right now. Send me some videos letting me know what Congress and Senate plans to do
Mm-hmm.
to push back against this. Because this right here is not normal. Wipe your eyes out, sweetheart, because this right here is fascism.
Exactly. Right in your face. You got to think about what his two favorite books are. And the main one that used to sit on his nightstand all the time that people talk about was the Hitler book. And if you look at everything that Hitler did, Hitler came into
Revolution.
power, then he lost. When he came back into power is when he really gained all of his steam. And if you really look at what's going on right now, this is just that same regime all over again. So, he's going by this same playbook that he's had sitting on his nightstand for decades.
And
You know.
The Heritage Foundation, they have been working for decades for
Yes.
Project 2025. Throughout this election, that's been my whole talking point. Whenever somebody send me something, I'm gonna send you the video to Roger P. Henson at the BET Awards warning you
Mm-hmm.
about Project 2025. I'm gonna send you the video of Kerry Washington warning
Mm-hmm.
you about Project 2025. I'm gonna send you the video of Bruce Springsteen endorsing Kamala and warning people about Project 2025. Myself and others have warned people about Project 2025. Oh, he's
Oh
not
yeah.
going to do that. You think he's not going to do that? Watch him. What is he doing right now? Almost
Yeah.
42% of Project 2025 is just about complete. And we're
Mm-hmm.
almost heading into July. July is next month. They said they wanted to get it done before July. They're still deporting people out of this country. They're not listening to the courts. Not even the judges that are conservative judges that Bush put there, they're not listening to
Hmm.
them either. He's not listening to
Exactly.
anybody. Who you put in office, you don't know what you just did when you went in that ballot box. November, and then you're getting upset at black people saying, we're not doing enough. We're not out here protesting with you. When we were the ones that were warning you right along
Hmm.
with everything that he said he was going to do, he is doing right now. He said
Hmm.
deportations, mass deportations, and y'all were sitting there right in that audience holding up signs saying mass deportations. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not realizing that if you got black or brown in your skin, he's talking about you. Black people,
Exactly.
we've been detained, but y'all are getting deported. It's not us
Exactly.
that's getting deported because they
And think
know
about who he's
exactly
bringing over. All the South Africans farmers that allegedly were
the
getting
white people.
abused, and that's who was okay to come over here, but everybody else got to get out. And
And it's
you
a
was talking
travel
about
ban in other
education.
countries.
Think
Black
about
and
I
brown
think
people.
it's Mothers of Confederacy, if I remember correctly. They're the ones that's been changing our history books for decades. I mean, my daughter is in high school now, and I remember when my oldest daughter, she's in college now, but I remember when she was in high school is when Texas started having their history books change and say that we didn't come over here as slaves. It's saying we came over here as indentured servants. Well, one of the things I know as fact is there is some truth to that, but it's not a main truth. But the real truth is we were already here. We are indigenous. That's why sometimes I know I kind of look like, I can be, what's the word, ambiguous or whatever. And I tell people, the people are like, man, what do you mix with? And I said, I'm indigenous. I tell people I'm Creole. It's like my people were here. When I talked to my grandmother, she never said anything about coming over here in the ship. She talked about being parts of Indian tribes.
That's
Think about
even
it.
them. He's going
Yeah.
after Korean people. He's
Yep.
going after Jewish people,
Oh, yeah.
Latinos, and the black people are saying, well, they're coming for us. They've been coming for us for 400 years.
Exactly.
Why do you think this travel ban? He banned all of these countries. Notice the pattern that it is all black and brown countries. But if it's
Absolutely.
Germany, if it's Russia, it's okay for y'all to come on over. If you're a white
Mhm.
person, welcome. Come on in. But if
Oh,
you
yeah.
black and you got a shade of brown in your skin, no, you're not welcomed here, which is
Correct.
why he chose to erase all of these African American artifacts out of the Smithsonian Museum, take over the
Hmm.
Kennedy Center Honors. And I just absolutely loved how you got that warm welcome from the audience. It brought so much joy to my heart, seeing the audience chant fell into you to your face. And it burned
Hmm.
you up from the inside. June 14th was a day that when America said no more. We don't have no kings in America. And then you
Correct.
got caught on the hot mic saying, why are they not doing like they're doing in North Korea? Because we don't want to. We don't bow down to kings, tyrants, and fascists. And we damn
Correct.
sure don't bow down to you. You are a
Exactly.
coward. You know what you are? You are a, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. TLC had a song on their fan mail album called Silly Ho. You a silly ho, Donald Trump. That's what you are.
I love it. I love
You
it.
a silly ho. You are Putin's ho. You can't jump until
Hmm.
Putin tells you to jump. You are scared of Putin. That's why you didn't put those tariffs. You put those tariffs on other countries, China, and you did it to Canada. You
Hmm.
sparking off a trade war with our allies, but you didn't do it for Russia because you know not to play with your daddy black. Oh yeah,
Yep.
you know not to play with your daddy black because you don't want to wind up falling out a third story window or in some freak car accident or
Oh,
something
yeah.
mysteriously in your food if you know, and then you wind up passing on the next day. You know not to play with Putin. That's the real deal. So they'll
Oh,
give
yeah.
him a parade. You wanted your parade to be just like Kim Jong Un, to be like Viktor Orban, Netanyahu, uh, Putin as well. You admire autocrats. That's not normal.
Hmm.
You should not be celebrating autocrats. And whereas
Correct.
you've turned Iran, a country who posed no threat to us, oh baby, they fired them missiles off. They said, forget your ceasefire. F your ceasefire. We
Yep.
got something for you.
Exactly. And here's the deal. I saw something that made me think as well. Number one, for all of your supporters here, I want you to go back and look at when Donald Trump actually had one of his major bankruptcies, and all of a sudden he just recovered very well. And he ended up putting up, I think it was Trump Tower. Well, if you go and look at who bailed him out, it was the Russians. They needed a way to wash their money. They needed a way to have someone that they could try to put into a place of power to where they can actually, figure out what's going on over here, as well as try to get in a position of power. And then, you're talking about Putin. I mean, think about it. If I'm helping you and, get money, I'm helping you wash money and you're helping me wash money, are you going to bite the hand that feeds you when you know I can touch you? You know I can get to you really easily? I mean, think about the main people that surround Trump and everything right now. It's a lot of Russian influence that's around him.
Absolutely,
Like,
Albert. And that
you
too.
know,
That too right
yeah.
there. My thing is this. You've bowed down and you surrendered because you're a coward. You are literally a Russian asset. You
Mm-hmm.
and what's her name? Tulsi Gabbard. Y'all are both Russian assets.
Right.
He is Putin's Trojan horse. He is his puppet. And you let Netanyahu get in your ear. You let Putin get in your ear. And you're talking about you got a ceasefire with Iran. Iran said, F that. We're going to fire off these missiles. You mess
Oh
with the
yeah.
wrong one. This is a country who pose no threat, even though women and LGBT people are mistreated over there. They
Mm-hmm.
pose no threat to us. Canada, Ukraine are no threat to us. Those should be our allies. You've messed up relationships with our allies. But even, I can't even believe that I'm agreeing. All of us, I can't believe we're agreeing with
Oh yeah.
Candace on much as anti-black rhetoric this woman has spit out of her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
We're now agreeing with her. I never thought of the day that I would be agreeing with Candace Owens. She's even against it. And
Oh
she
yeah.
said something that made sense. Most of the time, she don't make any sense. But on this, she said this right here, which is we shouldn't be going over here. We shouldn't be praising Israel.
Correct.
We should not be doing that. Netanyahu is embedded with him. So
Mm-hmm.
he crazy meets crazy. They're both lunatics. So he knows not to what lines to cross and what lines not to cross. Because as Jason just said, Trojan horse, you are Putin's puppet. You are Putin's, as TLC would say, silly hoe. You are
Oh
their
yeah.
silly hoe.
And
That's
you're
what
not
you
gonna
are.
bite the hand that feeds you.
Yep.
The other point I was gonna make, it just popped back in my head. I got a little short attention span, so bear with me. But is follow the money. And I didn't think about this until I ended up seeing someone post it, and then I stepped back for a second and I thought about it, and I was like, it made perfect sense. Why is Iran one of the biggest targets as of right now? Well, if you really think about it, Iran and North Korea are, I think, two of the last countries left that's not on a central bank system. So follow the money. Think about what happened to Cuba and all these other areas. Gaddafi. Think about what happened to him. In his country, basically, you get married and you get a house. He helps you get an education, all this other good stuff. But they weren't on the central banking system. He was funding his own stuff. So basically, he became a target, and all of a sudden, he was a terrorist, even though everybody in his country was flourishing for the most part. Well, think about what's happening now. If you want to control the oil and stuff, because I think I saw that 98% of Iran's exports for oil goes to China. Well, if you're trying to get some level of control, and set up your central bank, and what do? Start a makeshift war. It's a playbook that gets played over and over and over
And
again.
Hitler did
And
it
if you
too.
really pay attention, I mean, the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall. I mean, think about it, Afghanistan and everything else. A 20-year war? For what? For what? What weapons of mass destruction did they actually find? Outside of the fact
And
that we were the weapons of mass destruction that went in there and deregulated and basically messed up their country. And then we just pulled out.
he's pulled out of all the countries that were our allies. We are now
Yeah,
standing on our own, and there's
correct.
nothing left. The guardrails are gone, and we are having to be those guardrails to remind them it's in the Constitution. They literally have taken the
Hmm.
Constitution and ripped it up and said, "Hey, we're gonna go by our own rules." You can't do that. But obviously, he's in power, so he can do as he pleases.
Correct.
Congress, Senate Republicans in Congress and Senate will continue to go along with them. And we're seeing
Right.
some on the Democrat side vote along with Republicans. I'm like, what are you doing? You are supposed
Right.
to be the party of opposition. But
Hmm.
it goes back to what Timothy Snyder wrote in his book on tyranny. And I suggest everybody go and read it. He said that institutions will not save you. So if you're thinking that some of these institutions that were put in place to help you they won't save you because they are bending that knee for survival. Let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you why the Republicans are doing what they're doing. And this needs to be highlighted a whole lot more. Pizzas have been sent to federal judges who Bush put in place. Republican judges, these conservative
Mm-hmm.
judges, pizzas have been sent to their families' houses as to say, I know where you live. I can come find you and do whatever I need to do. And that's what Homeboy did to these two Democratic leaders who
Mm-hmm.
turned out to be a Trump supporter. Why is it everybody that's taking people's lives connected to him? They're white
Exactly.
Christian nationalists.
Yep.
And these so-called attempts, the first one with the ear when the campaign and election was going on. See, what he does and what fascists do is they do what's called smoke and mirrors. You see
Correct.
me, I want you to see this, but what's going on behind this is like the rabbit in the hat. What's going on behind this is chaos.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking your money. They're taking your 401k plans. They're taking your hard-earned tax-paying dollars and they're giving it to insurrectionist Ashley Babbitt,
Mm-hmm.
$5 million to her family. This woman's a whole insurrectionist and she lost her
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And out here supporting him. And he's taking your money and doing that. It's not the trans, it's not the drag queens, it's not the gays, and it's not the blacks. We voted to
Correct.
help you. But y'all listen to his fearmonger. And whenever I see Lindsey Graham's commercial pop up on television about how we can end birthright citizenship, I'm like, you got to be
Mm-hmm.
kidding. And this is from my city of South Carolina. So we gotta take the criticism from every way because of what
Oh yeah.
Lindsey Graham is doing. Lindsey Graham is Donald Trump's golf butt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, something else to truly consider. What happened to the Tea Party from years ago? Have you noticed that nobody really brought them up in darn near a decade? They're still there. They just became MAGA, right?
Oh,
And they
and
got
red
even
hats.
more
They
radical
went
than before.
from white hoods to red hats. And now we're
Correct.
seeing some of the supporters burn their hats.
Hmm.
Congratulations to you, but you're
Too
still
late
complicit.
now.
We're seeing Tucker Carlson and all of these conservatives try to switch their tune. They're
Correct.
trying to switch their tune and saying a different tune. And if and y'all are scared, we see it in your voices. We see the
Yep.
cracking in your voices. We see
Yep.
y'all afraid to even mention this man's name when asked in an interview or going on a podcast. Y'all are scared to even critique him. Y'all just give a look like the boogeyman is coming to get you. This man has so much fear into you. You are
Right.
afraid of a 79-year-old draft dodger and his bone
Correct.
spur who fell on those stairs and he didn't fall hard enough for me.
I love it. I agree. I agree.
Y'all are scared of him? What do you have to be afraid of? What he gonna do? He gonna stick his guard dog Pam Bondi on you? I want
He
Pam
can't do
Bondi to come
anything.
at you.
Yeah, he can't do
But he's
anything
getting her
except for
after
get
you.
his base riled up. And you brought up a very good factor. You was talking about his ear. So you mean to tell me Evander Holyfield, who Mike Tyson bit his ear, never grew back, but this dude got shot with an AR-15? Look, I'm from Texas. We got guns everywhere. I personally own 3 ARs. I see what it does to meat. I see what it does to the body when you shoot an animal with that type of round. That wouldn't grow back. This is cartilage anyway. This doesn't grow back. And you mean to tell me he got shot in the ear and his ear is perfect? He's walking around with a maxi pad or something like a female product on his ear for like a week or two, talking about his healing. It's like, come on, man. All of this stuff is staged and it gets people riled up. And I was like, at some point, we have to stop being sheeple. We have to open up our eyes. We have to stop hating each other. Hate is expensive. I mean, people have been putting it out there for years. Racism is expensive. Because if you think about it, for my lighter hued people that might be watching this show, that racism and that hate has cost you a whole bunch in terms. I mean, college used to be free. They started charging to try to keep us out of it, right?
Oh,
Because they
he
didn't want
attacked
us
Harvard.
educated. You
It's
know
the
what I mean?
reason why he kept attacking Harvard. Is it
Exactly,
because of
because his
him
kid can't
Barron
get into
didn't get
Harvard.
accepted? Is it because
Right.
Barron didn't get accepted? But your daddy paid your way into college.
Exactly. And he
You
still
had
flunked
everything
out.
literally handed to you on a silver
Yeah.
platter. So why are you going after institutions? Oh, because you don't like what they're teaching. They're teaching about Black history. They're teaching about LGBT history. Anything that is
Mm-hmm.
black or woke. Because you remember we're saying we're going to get rid of all the woke. No, woke is still going to be here. We see through the bullshit. We see through your lies. Everything you do is smoke and mirrors. When you and your little girlfriend Elonia got into it
Mm-hmm.
on what was it, X, we seen what happened. We seen what y'all were trying to do. Y'all were trying to distract us. And
Yeah.
then Elon comes out what a few days after and says, "Well, I was just talking crazy." That man is not trying to hear that. You trying to get
Right.
back in his good graces. It was sick. And then to find out today that Venus and Serena Williams have their podcast, their video podcast that will be premiering on
Okay.
X. Do you know what X has become? It has become a dumpster fire for white
Yeah.
supremacy. Elon Musk
Absolutely.
is the driving force for that. So whenever I see somebody sending me something from the comments that's going on over there or a post on X, I'm like, I don't even want to look at it. I've left X. I've left.
Mm-hmm.
He's used X to weaponize against Kamala Harris, who warned you that he would start a war in what? We're 6 months in. He started
We
a
are
war
six
in
months
6 months.
in.
He warns you that this would happen. But
Yeah, because
y'all,
we're at war. You can't replace them.
no, you messed up big time with Iran. This is not going to be it. I literally seen a video not too long ago of Anderson Cooper running while he was doing coverage where he was at
Mm-hmm.
because something was going on. Iran striked.
Oh yeah.
This is not a game. You want to get out here and you want to talk tough, all big and bad and stuff like Putin got your back. Putin can't get you out of this, Donald. You
Mm-mm.
effed up big time. There's a civil war going on within the the MAGA
Oh yeah.
movement. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, the beach blonde, bad built butch body. You've got
Can't stand her.
Charlie Kirk. You've got Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. Y'all are all turning on each other. And I just
Mm-hmm.
love every minute of it. It's like watching an episode of The Housewives of Atlanta. And I am a
Oh yeah.
big Atlanta. I love Nene Leakes, by the way. But this is what we're seeing. Y'all are stirring the pot. And Laura Loomer out here talking about take pictures so that you can send it to Donald Trump if anybody critiques it. Laura, he kicked you out long ago, honey. You were just the side
Right.
piece. Melania will always be the main prize and trophy. You were just the side piece, honey.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never be the first lady. You were just there to do what you were doing. She's also a conspiracy theorist and does not believe
Melania
in
don't even want to be the first lady. She can't stand him. Well, don't even want to. I mean, think about it. You in the biggest public eye, and your wife won't even hold your hand.
and the way she brushed him off with a kiss, she had a little McDonald's hat on. What's
Right.
the hamburger? She had a little hamburger hat on at the inauguration. He tried to kiss her, and she just like
Yeah.
she didn't even want to kiss you. There's reports that y'all don't even sleep in the same room. Now, where we're from, where what we know, husband and wife sleep in the bed together. Why is husband and
Mm-hmm.
wife sleeping in separate rooms? She don't want nothing to do with you. And if you look at her face at the parade, her face said, "This
Oh
man,
yeah.
I don't
She
even
just
want to
had to
be."
be there. She didn't want to be there. She'd be real happy being in one of them expensive places out there in New York. One of, wherever they stay, one of those buildings. I don't know if they stay in Trump Tower or where. I don't pay that close attention. But she didn't even want to move into the White House during his first term. I mean, come on.
And she sure is. She gripped. Remember, she wrote a book and she got out here saying she supports women's rights. Well, why are you not
Mm-hmm.
speaking up now, Melania? Where is the women that are in the Trump movement, women for MAGA? Why are y'all
Right.
not speaking up? But we're seeing that y'all are starting to find out, as Jason said, the vampire's princess. Absolutely. And as
Oh
it
yeah.
pertains to Hegseth, when the parade was going on, notice Hegseth's face. He must have gotten cursed out by Donald Trump before the parade even started, because this is not the parade that he wanted. He wanted some Kim Jong-un style, Vladimir Putin
Right.
style parade. You just didn't get it. But the sad reality is 45 million of our hard-earned tax-paying dollars went to give this man's ego a parade. It wasn't
Yep.
to celebrate the military 250 years of people who have had service in the military. My father was a veteran. He served in the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and my uncle also served as well too. So that's why it's deeply personal to me, because I do not like veterans being turned away because of their political beliefs. They don't follow along with Donald Trump. And then just recently, you said if anybody is a Democrat or is a part of the queer community, they're not welcome into the veterans office. You want
That's
to cut
crazy.
them off. You want to deny aid to blue states, FEMA, because they don't align with your political views. No one is, because it's old, outdated, and unpopular. We are in
Hmm.
2025. We're not in the 1900s. We're not in a time where people were oppressed. And if you're thinking that you're going to suppress and keep people, especially Black voices, oppressed, you got another thing coming. And my colleague Alvin mentioned Don Lemon in the comments. Don Lemon said something that was brilliant. I think it is time for more of us as Black people to use our platforms. That was something we touched on yesterday.
I
Me and the
agree.
other gentleman, we touched on now more than ever, Black filmmakers. Jason here is a writer, an amazing
Hmm.
writer. That I've went through your resume, your catalog before getting my hair and
Oh, I
makeup done,
appreciate it.
prepping for
Thank
the
you.
interview.
Thank you.
And it is important that we use our voices more than ever. What
Hmm.
really had me upset was Joy Reid. When you are a Black woman, is she pulling the Black woman card? Yes, I'm pulling the Black woman card and the Black
Go
people
for it.
card. Yes, I am. And I can, because we warned you, we told you. When you
Hmm.
are a Black woman in this country, you're silenced. Oh no,
Agreed.
Shay. Oh, sending you my love. I'm on my way back to the ER. I'll inbox you. And see, that was my second interview.
Hey,
But this
prayers up to you if you're
conversation,
headed back to the ER. I don't know you, but you know what? I wish you well, and I definitely wish you health. What's the name,
yes.
Jay? Yeah,
Jay
definitely take
Film.
care of yourself.
Yes. So we're going to continue with Jason. The show will go on. We can go all the way up until 4. I can discuss this all day because Black people need to know these things.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
as I was stating about Black women, whenever Black women speak truth to power, they're silenced.
Hmm.
And I can go down a long list of Black women who were silenced or told you need to go through the black door, go through the back door. Let's start
Hmm.
off all the way back. Let's go way, way, way back in history. Rosetta Tharpe,
Yep.
first Black woman that is a country singer. Eartha Kitt, Nina Simone. When you're
Yep.
radical and when you are like myself, speaking truth to power, they target you and they
And the
frame you
government
for
been
crimes
targeting
you
all
didn't
of them.
even commit.
Yep.
Let's go to the most. We just celebrated the her acquittal because they was going to charge her. Angela Davis,
Yep.
the most recent, a beautiful woman who ran for president in 2024, and she
Hmm.
warned you that this would happen, Kamala Harris.
Oh
And
yeah.
what did they do? What did one of the publications do? They said Kamala's new lie. And I can't, The Hill wrote that, said this is Kamala's newest lie. It's out there, it's an article out there. No, she didn't lie. She told you the truth. And now you're looking back at clips of her warning you, telling
Yep.
you that this man would do everything he said he would do.
And it's all falling right in
Let's
line.
go down further of these Black women who have been outspoken on the front lines for Black people. Josephine Baker,
Yep.
Dorothy Dandridge.
Yep. All prominent black women. Yeah.
Who else? Maya Angelou.
And the government was tapping all of them in terms of watching them and trying to make sure they didn't become too radical, if you know what I mean. But I'm happy they did.
And last but certainly not least, in the year of 2025, Joy Reid's show is canceled. But
Right.
you didn't steal her joy, you didn't break her. Because she has a show right now. She's doing independent media, which I think she should
Hmm.
have been doing all along. But she did what needed to be done. She served a purpose because every night you tuned in, her viewership was through the roof. More
Yep.
viewers than me. I'm not even in mainstream MSNBC. But this woman broke ratings that
Yep.
grind his gears. If you are a Black woman in Donald Trump's eyes, you are a target. You are a danger. And we're
Oh yeah.
seeing that right now with Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, who's facing up to 17 years for a crime
Hmm.
she didn't commit, for
That's the
going
first I heard of
to
that one.
an
Okay.
ICE facility. She was going to an ICE facility because they're supposed to go and check on the people there. They're
Okay.
doing what their
Right.
protocol is to do.
I'm gonna have to look
And
into
you
that
got
one. Okay,
This is when
definitely.
he locked up Mayor Baraka. She was there with Mayor Baraka, and they locked her up.
Because they didn't want them there witnessing what was going on. There's a lawyer on TikTok that I think they keep taking his posts down and he keeps reposting it because I've noticed his wording has changed a little bit. And what he was talking about is these concentration camps that they're taking a lot of these Latinas to are actually private owned. And they are charging the US government $120,000 per person, and they're basically getting free labor out of them. These concentration camps are basically just modern day slave camps. These people aren't just sitting there, they're actually making them work. And they're charging the government $120,000 minimum per person. And it was, I think it's an immigration lawyer or something. I want to say it was, I can't remember if he was Latino or Asian or whatever, but he keeps making videos. But I think they keep taking them down because, of the information that he's posting. And really and truly, this is a big time money grab. I mean, think about it. All these farmers, why did they really think that a lot of black people was about to come work on them farms
And if
after
you
they
think
got rid of
that
all
we
these
coming out
Latino
here to
people?
pick fruits for what, $11 an hour? I seen somebody did post saying we're looking for workers. If you thinking
Yes.
black people going back to the fields to pick fruit, you are sadly mistaken. You get your ass up and you go out there in the scorching hot 90-degree, 80-degree weather, and you go pick some potatoes. We ain't picking nothing. Our ancestors did
Yeah.
everything. You
7
voted for
days a
them.
week, 12 hours a day, and they want to pay you like $10 an hour. And that's actually up from what they were trying to pay some of the other people. That's how bad this has gotten. To where I mean, it is actually they've raised what they're willing to pay, trying to get somebody involved to come do this. My question is, if we're so darn lazy, go do it yourself, because we weren't considered lazy until we stopped working for free. When slavery ended, all of a sudden we became lazy. We weren't lazy when we was working then, when you was cracking a whip on us. We're not lazy. We never been lazy. We got technology out here that, of course, I mean, hundreds and thousands of years ago that we forgot how to do, but they still haven't figured out how they done these pyramids. They still trying to figure out what they're used for. And they weren't tombs. My background's in engineering. I've been looking into this stuff. They're not tombs. They had aquifers and all kinds of stuff. There was, I mean, a lot of these desert areas in Africa, if you go back and look at old maps, they had water all around these pyramids and stuff. They weren't deserts back then when they built all of this crap. I think they found a pyramid off in the Gulf of Mexico. I want to say outside of New Orleans, maybe a few years ago. That's actually in the Gulf of Mexico. It's covered in water, but it's under there. But it's like it came out. They talked about it for about a month, and all of a sudden now it's gone. So we're not stupid people. And what's so ignorant to me is the fact that they want to get rid of all of this stuff, talking about segregation and everything else. But I think what caught them off guard is when a lot of our people said, "Let's do it." Because we knew what happened during Tulsa. We knew what happened during Rosewood, all these other areas that are lakes and stuff now. I mean, if you really think about it, we were prominent. We actually owned more stuff than they did at one point, and this is after slavery. And they couldn't control that. So what did they do? They used the military to go in there and bomb it to make sure that we got put in our place, right? So, when you think about this kind of stuff, we're very powerful people. Very powerful people. I mean, we definitely have that ether that they desire, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Our legacy is deeply ingrained into this country. So as much as you try
Absolutely.
to erase it, and I was telling the gentleman this yesterday, Mark, Sherrick, and I also told Kenny this, our history is deeply ingrained in this country.
Hmm.
And Jamie Foxx said this on the red carpet. I will always keep quoting this quote. He said, as much as, because he was asked about what does he think about the DEI rollbacks at a film
Hmm.
premiere or something. And Jamie Foxx said this, they can try to erase, but guess what? We're going to replace and make some more history. So if y'all thinking that
Absolutely.
y'all going to try to erase black people out this country, erase us and our history and our lineage, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. It burns you up that we are in positions that you're in and we're doing the jobs better than you. You got to go
Hmm.
find uh, Pete Hegseth and his 2 bottles of gin. And you got to worry about Tulsi Gabbard, who is a Russian asset. You got to
Yep.
find a gardener. You got to find a woman who is old, who husband, her and her husband have built an empire, WWE,
Yeah.
the McMahon family. You got to find somebody from the real world. And you got to find a woman who wants to play cosplay as an ice
Hmm.
agent. Ice
Yeah.
Barbie is what I call her. Christy Nunn, dog
Yep.
killer. And
Yep.
she was asked about that. You run from that. There are a couple things that scare them that they run from, and that is people that are rising up and speaking truth to power. Whenever you mention January 6th, he runs from that. Now he's
Mm-hmm.
wanting to look into the election results for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You lost, you lost that election, Dom. There's no ifs, no ands, or buts about it or look into. But however, since you want to go there, we can look into the 2024 election results. Because
Mm-hmm.
Elania said a whole lot when she put that tweet out there saying it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be in this position. Democrats would
Mm.
have the House and the Senate if it wasn't for
Correct.
me.
He
He
even
bought
admitted
this
it during
election.
some of his talks. He said that Elon cheated for him. And nobody even better than I. He literally said it during some of his speeches in different cities or states or whatever, that Elon is very good with computers, and because of him, I'm here. Because he was saying he was about to go away for a long time.
Starlink, the Starlink ring a bell? Did y'all see the commercial for Starlink during the Super
Right.
Bowl? And remember, he kept alluding. I said, Bing, because I didn't watch any of his speeches, any of his campaigns. I've been watching Kamala's rallies. I was engaged
Mm-hmm.
in that. Her rallies were like a concert. She gave you everything and then some. She brings joy when she walks into a room. Trump is a dark
Mm-hmm.
entity. He is a zygote. He is a demon. And the late
Oh yeah.
Nikki Giovanni, she called him a mix of if Satan and Adolf Hitler were to have a baby, those were her exact words. That's what she compared Donald Trump to. This is the Antichrist that we're dealing with. He is a fascist and he is deeply racist. It goes all the way back to his great grandfather and his
Mm-hmm.
father, because his father, what
Who's
the hell
both
was he doing at a
immigrants?
Klan's meeting in 1927?
Yep. Yep. Father's a documented Klans member. Grandfather was an immigrant that actually got sent out of the country, made his way back in here, and was running whores. He basically was running prostitutes and stuff. That was one of the main businesses that his grandfather was doing that brought them to power. At one point,
Well,
his father got into real estate and stuff. But I mean, basically, what he was doing was preying on poor people when he was building the low income housing,
and
and then didn't
refusing
want to.
rent to blacks.
So you can get a lot of good information off of TikTok and off of social media. But the challenge is, and this is what I even talk to my daughters about, go pick up an encyclopedia. Because once it's printed, it's not to say that you can't have different versions, but if you can find really old encyclopedias and go read through them, that information is not the same as what you start seeing on Google and everything else. They're trying to change the information. And when you
Whitewash.
start, yeah, when you stop putting it in books where it's in black and white and is actually a physical copy and everything is electronic, think about how easy it is to change information, with electronics. You can just go in there and just rewrite something real quick, and it's just a new edition that just came out, and you can erase the old one. Well, if you got a book on your bookshelf, 'cause that's what I talk to my daughters about. I was like, rich people have libraries. Poor people have people that they idolize. Because even when I would go look at these, I like to dream build. So I would go when they have open houses, I'd go to these big $2 million, $3 million houses. Every single one of them has a study with a library and bookshelves all over the place. You go to the hood and you go look into these houses, every room has a TV. So we're being entertained. They're reading. We're being entertained. We worried about the new Jays that are coming out, and they're reading what did my man say, Mein Kampf, that Hitler book. They're reading a lot of these other books. They're going to the gun range. They're hunting. They're doing all this other stuff. We worried about who the hell got the last dunk during the finals.
I'm so glad you mentioned sneakers. How's your sneakers selling, Donald? Your NFT, your playing
Oh, that's
cards,
crazy.
and now you want people to buy their
Yep.
citizenship into this country. You did a crypto ball, and Snoop Dogg, Nelly, Soldier Boy, Rick Ross, y'all went to go perform for him. Nobody's going to perform for your president, Snoop. No, that's not our president. That's your president, because you're in the tax
Mm-hmm.
bracket where you can afford that president. The rest of us, the
Mm-hmm.
working class, we can't afford that president. I can't relate to a man who has inherited 413 billion from his pappy, from his
Right.
pappy. I can't relate to that. I've never had a silver spoon handed down to me. I've always had
Mm-hmm.
to work and get it from the ground out. How I built Style by Stevie was from my hard-earned money, blood, sweat, and tears, and research. Years of it. I've been doing this platform for 7 years. And the thing about it is, y'all thought y'all would get a piece of the pie. That's why we're seeing a lot of celebrities. Shaq is out here
Hmm.
hugging him. You got Lamar Odom. Venus and Serena Williams is the latest to align themselves and put their platform with Elon Musk when you could have put it out there yourself. Look at what Michelle Obama and her brother did. They put that podcast out there themselves. That's something
Hmm.
that her and her brother Craig worked on. You could have did the same thing. You could have
Yep.
did what Joy Reid did, which is do it independently. It is time for Black creators to do it independently. You see Jamal Bryant, Reverend Jamal Bryant keeping his foot on these big corporations. We don't bow and bend down to big corporations. But
Absolutely.
I get it. These are some of our favorite celebrities. But after that, as soon as I seen that story from, I can't remember which. Let me see. Let me go back because I just posted it, and a lot of people were shocked to find out that Venus and Serena Williams would put their podcast on X. For what? Why? Why
Well,
are they doing
think
that?
about people like Candace Owens. I mean, here's the deal. Okay, you're a black young lady, you married to a white guy, and it's not. And I don't have any issues with white people. I mean, I'll stand. I got some white guys I'll stand in front of if somebody was trying to kill them. I mean, they're great people of all hues. But you think about who Serena's married to. I just wonder if that may have something to do with it. I'm not speculating. I mean, it may or may not. But I mean, it's definitely something to think about. And while you're looking that up, one of the things that I want to bring up and just put out there, because I always try to make a point to do this, is I believe it was Oprah that said it best, and this is probably 20 something years ago. To my guys, stop standing in line to go buy damn Jordans and stuff. How about you start buying the stock? Stop buying the shoes,
Investment,
go buy the
land,
stock.
because they are also taking land as well too. Donald Trump.
Yes,
I posted something where they are buying up land. These rich billionaires and millionaires are buying up
they own
land,
all the
buying
farms.
stock,
Yeah,
buy land. I
yeah.
interviewed an adult entertainer by the name of Darren Blakes.
Uh huh.
And this man is deeply invested in stock. And he was
Mm-hmm.
encouraging my audience to go out here and buy stock, Black people. Check your 401k, check your pensions, check everything. Black
Right.
Enterprise posts article every single day. You need to be reading Black publications. Roland Martin has also encouraged people out here to go
Mm-hmm.
and invest. Invest. Jamal Bryant is not just doing this for this. He said if these corporations want to bend the knee to Donald Trump and give him what he wants, spend your Black dollar within the community.
Correct.
Spend your Black dollar within the community. I've been stopped going to Walmart. I haven't been to Walmart in months. I haven't been, but my mom, she is not understand the assignment. I get it, mommy. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but myself, I've stood on principle. I have not been to Walmart. I have not been to Aldi's. Aldi's was one of the ones that bent the
Mm-hmm.
knee to Donald Trump. Target.
Yep.
None of these stores who support him, who've bent the knee to him. I don't support
I
that.
agree.
I don't
I
support it at
agree.
all. AT&T, the phone company, said, "No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to bend the knee to you." So shout outs to AT&T, even though the bill is high as hell. They
It
said we're not
is.
going to bend the knee to him. I said, "Oh, I don't care how high the bill is now." I said, "I love my phone company. I love that y'all have not capitulated. Y'all stood on principle." Ben and
Hmm.
Jerry's, the ice cream company, pushing back. So many of them are pushing back. Yes, Aldi's. Aldi's was on
Yep.
the list. Yep.
Oh yeah, they were. I forgot who else. It's like most of the ones that actually shown themselves to be major supporters of them, especially if they cut back on the DEI. I tried to make a point to find an alternative store to go to, even if it was more expensive, if that makes sense. And to another thing with our guys out there, we're talking about supporting black businesses, and a lot of people for years and decades been complaining that some of these businesses are more expensive. Well, number one, it's harder for us to start black businesses because the banks don't want to give us the loans. So if there is a black bank anywhere in your city, support them because they're supporting or should be supporting your community. Watch who they're giving the loans to, right? The second thing is the reason why a lot of our places are more expensive is because number one, we don't have the volume of a lot of these other places like your nails and hair and all these other stores. We don't have that same volume. If you keep supporting them, they can actually buy more. And as they buy more is where you actually get the deals. If you're just buying a little bit, and this is coming from somebody who deals in business, I can sell a lot more books for a lot cheaper if y'all bought more of the books. But if I'm only selling so many books, then of course the price stays up. I can give more deals based on volume. So if that volume is not there, they got to charge you what they need to charge you to make the profit to keep the doors open. But it's still on you to support them. Now, for my black businesses as well, be professional, treat everybody kind and stuff. Don't assume just because you black that they need to be supporting you. Give them good customer service, and let's build our communities back up. Definitely.
Or do what that black woman did when it was Juneteenth. She heard the white men in there talking about y'all. I'm pretty sure y'all seen the video of
Yes.
this black
Yep.
woman in the car dealership. She said, "Pull my goddamn car around.
Yep.
Pull my car around right now." That's the type
Exactly.
of
And
energy
left.
we have to have. Black people, we are intolerable. We're not putting up with the BS. It's Let me tell you, there's different forms of racism, and I touched on this with my colleague.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Andre Joseph. I talked to him about this, about the different forms of racism. There is systematic racism, there is
Yes.
systemic racism, there is environmental racism, and
True.
then there is the financial kind. They'll do it environmentally. We're seeing what Elonia is doing with this power plant that is
Mm-hmm.
poisoning people out here. We're seeing that. And what they're doing economically to us. These tariffs are impacting small businesses, small black owned businesses, because we're having
Absolutely.
to pay more. The everyday consumer, they didn't know what tariffs was.
And that's
He
by
doesn't
plan.
even know what he's doing. One
Correct.
day you jacking up the price, and then that's why I think they gave him the perfect nickname, Taco, because Trump does always chicken out. One
Yes, he
minute, if
does.
you're gonna raise the price, raise the price. If you're gonna lower it, lower it. But the everyday
Yeah.
consumers, us, we're paying for that. You're thinking that the other countries are gonna pay for it. No, they're not paying for that. Did you see that video
And
in
everybody told him
Canada?
that up front
Canada
that we were
pulled
on.
Canada pulled that alcohol off the shelf. They said,
Yep.
get it out of here. Get it out of here. We're not paying for that. We're not doing that.
They
And
stopped
you see
they stopped exporting as much produce, and so did Mexico. And that's
the
where we was
ports are
getting most of
empty.
our produce from.
The ports are empty. And to the
Yep.
farmers, to the white farmers that voted for Donald Trump, how's your harvest going?
Thank you.
And I teased with my colleague Alvin in the comments, tit for tat, this and that. Make sure y'all head on over and subscribe to his channel. I tease with him, and I say this all the time on his panel. To my farmers that voted for Donald Trump, how those eggs taste, bitch? How do those eggs taste now? Because y'all wanted lower egg prices. Egg prices are through the roof right now. Gas prices are about to go up even more, especially with this Israel-Iran war. It was
Mm-hmm.
politics by Tabitha, another black woman who's beautiful, educated, talented. Y'all don't listen to black women out here because of the misogyny and the patriarchy is deeply rooted in America. That's why you didn't vote for Kamala. Half
Exactly.
of white America. White women, we told you your husband didn't have to know your vote. We begged, we pleaded with y'all
They
until the
lie about
Latinos.
everything else. Why
We
not lie
begged,
about their vote?
we begged and pleaded with y'all too. The Latino Americans that voted for
Yep.
Donald Trump. But yes, green eggs and ham. How are your eggs tasting for you now? I was driving past Denmark, South Carolina, which is the home of Dr. Cleveland Sellers,
Mm-hmm.
Wharton University. Bakari Sellers, and I'm pretty sure y'all know Bakari. Y'all have seen him on CNN and other news outlets as well too. I was driving past, and one of my third grade school teachers, her family has a farm out there. They had the Trump 2024 sign up in the yard
Mm-hmm.
and everything, the flag. I drive past a few days afterwards, and I see that flag down. What made you change your mind all of a sudden? It was beautiful to see.
Oh
What
yeah.
made you change your mind? Me and my mom and my grandmother and my aunt, we were all in the car. And we saw that I pointed to my mom. I tapped her and I said, Mama, what happened to the flag that was there? Why you took the flag down? Y'all burning
Right.
hats and stuff? Y'all should have been anti-Trump during the election. And y'all want black people to go out to the streets and protest with you? Yeah,
They
we're
want our
doing things
bodies.
that
They
are
don't want.
wrong.
They want our culture. They want our bodies. They want us out in the street fighting for me. And they're saying, "Well, you're next." Like you said earlier, they never stopped messing with us.
Mm-mm.
So why do we need to go? If we warned y'all that this is going to happen, You've seen it throughout history what they've done to us. You can't demand that we go out here and support your ignorance.
And
You've decided that this is what you want. This is your opportunity for your people to get together and fight for what it is that you're saying that you believe in. If you're saying that you believe in it, get out there and continue to fight. I'm happy with what's going on in LA. Yes, they're getting together, they are pushing ICE back out. Good. But keep that energy up all over, because don't just have one city that's sitting here cutting up and doing this stuff and then the rest of them aren't doing anything, because y'all need to be a unified front like y'all tell us all the time. You tell us to fix our communities, we're telling you the same thing. Go fix your communities. Y'all voted for a lot of this stuff, and I you see people all over TikTok saying, well, that was a large majority of us that voted for this, but I didn't. Well, guess what? We're not a monolith, and you aren't either. So basically, you need to get your people in check and everything, just like you tell us to do. You tell us to fix our communities all the time. Go fix yours. And I
and not,
guarantee you, when you fix your community, just like when we fix ours, we stand together, and we should stand together. But FAFO. I mean,
and
he
not
told you exactly what he was going to do, and now you're finding out that he meant what he said.
and not just that, but what something they always tell us as well too. That's why my light bulb went off, Jason, when you said that. They what do they tell black people all the time? Pick yourselves up by the bootstraps. Now it's
Right.
your turn. We have done the work. We have protested. We have did everything we needed to
Yeah.
do. We begged and we pleaded with you not to
Yeah.
vote for this man. But y'all went out here and y'all listened to the lies. Y'all listened to the propaganda. Y'all sat up
Mm-hmm.
here and binged watched Fox News with what is it, Jesse Waters and who else is on there? The Five,
Your Tuckers and all them guys. I mean, I don't even know who's on
Joe
there anymore. I
Rogan,
had to stop watching it years ago because I couldn't take it anymore. With the ignorance. But yeah.
and then to the black one, you got a black woman, Harris Faulkner, Harris, and then
Hmm.
there's another one on there too. To the people, to the black conservatives out here, and then you got Mark Robinson, new Mr. Nude Africa from North Carolina, just recently come out and make a statement. Um, what did you think? Yeah, you sprout their talking points, but you
Yeah.
are a black man who is a conservative. If you have black or brown in your skin, you're not welcomed in the Republican white boy party. You're not
Right.
welcome there. They will hang your ass from a tree.
Yeah. First chance a lot of them get. And again, not all conservatives are bad, but I mean, the thing is, okay, but why are you not standing up to the ones that are? Why are you not making a major protest or making a bunch of noise? Because really and truly, if you look at us from a racial standpoint, most black people are very conservative in our views. However, my wife and I was talking about this, I think it was just last night, or maybe it was earlier today. Most black people are very conservative in our views. Most Hispanics of that culture are very conservative in
Yes,
their views.
indeed.
But the thing is that not so conservative to where we're talking about slavery and stuff. We're talking about old conservative family value type views. But when you're dealing with other people who they want to have it easy and they don't like the fact that they're losing their way of life, what they perceive is their way of life, then it becomes a problem. That's not who you align yourself to when you're conservative. What you do is that you get into a party that's actually being progressive, and you can still have conservative views, and you just make sure that the party is moving in the right way. You don't want it to get too crazy on one side, and you don't want it to get too crazy on the other. But right now, we got political gangbanging going on. If you want to be technical, you got the left against the right, and they both pointing fingers at each other. So who's the normal people these days? If you're not
Oh,
red, you're blue. You know what I mean?
and not just that. This is not about red versus blue. This is about
True.
right versus wrong. And we're
Correct.
seeing the ones out here like Jasmine Crockett, AOC. Bernie, you
Love them.
shouldn't have put your ass on Andrew Schultz's podcast. That boy hates black women. And I did not like what he said about Kendrick Lamar. That's a whole nother conversation.
Who's that? I missed the name. Who was
Bernie
that you said?
Sanders went
Oh,
on
really?
Andrew Schultz's podcast. Andrew Schultz, and you've seen him all over MTV.
Oh, yeah. I know
This
exactly what you're
man
talking about. Yeah.
is anti-black woman, anti anything black. I mean, you had Donald Trump there on the podcast also during the election campaign as well too, and y'all let this man
Hmm.
sit up there and lie. You were laughing the whole time. Bernie, you don't go sit with them. I'm seeing a lot of our Democrats bend the knee to some of these Republicans and fall in line with Donald
Yep.
Trump. Y'all don't need to be doing that. We just as fast as Republicans are scared of being primary, we can primary your ass too. That's a promise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And need to. That's why I like people. Some people don't like Charlemagne the God. At times I'm a fan, other
He,
times I'm
to
not, but he
me,
brings up a lot of damn good points. And he holds a lot of the Democrat guys to, I mean, he holds their feet to the fire. He's like, you're saying one particular thing, but the first time somebody buck up against you, where's the unity? Why, how come y'all are not going down fighting? They're going down fighting over there. They're sitting here throwing you under the bus and everything else. How come y'all not doing the same thing? I like when Michelle Obama, and I love her grace. She was talking about when they go low, we go high. Yes, in certain instances, but when somebody goes so low, sometimes you got to meet people where they at. You know, when you're
she didn't
talking
show up.
business and everything else, you got to meet people where they are. And if they in the gutters, sometimes you got to go to the gutter with them to pull them back up. But you also got to give them a couple lessons while you're in the gutter, if that makes sense. You know, that's that old hood talk. You know what I mean? That old hood mindset that sometimes you got to get in the trenches with people. I mean, you can't have a war to where you're actually trying to make changes and not get in the trenches. So sometimes it has to get ugly before it gets beautiful. So you got to start looking like me, then you start looking like Stevie. You understand what I'm saying? You got to get ugly, then you got to get beautiful, you know, and get all glammed up and stuff. So, you know, you keep the glam going, sis. Do your thing. Do your thing. I love it.
And I'm so glad you mentioned Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama, for her to announce, she's been in that White House for 8 years. 8 years
Mm-hmm.
of her being in this White House. And she literally was attacked by this administration. Y'all call this woman a gorilla. Y'all call this woman
Right.
every name in the book but a child of God. And her
Which is
husband
sad.
gave Donald Trump a great economy. Joe Biden
Mm-hmm.
gave him a great economy. And look what this man is doing right now. Now, as far as
Oh, tearing it
Charlemagne,
up.
my opinion on Charlemagne and Stephen A. Smith, y'all out here being on both sides of the fence. You cannot
Right.
be on both sides of the fence. Stephen A. Smith is talking about running as president. I said, you got to be out your fucking mind. If you think that I'm gonna cast my
I heard
vote
about that.
for you, and you were critical of Kamala, but you were not critical of this man.
Right.
Why were you not calling him out? Charlemagne made a point of what Jason just said, which is you got to call him out. Don't call out one, make it fair.
Call
But
everybody
y'all are
out.
doing this because America is deeply rooted in patriarchy and misogyny. And
Correct.
Donald Trump speaks to the white boys, the young white boys who are so hateful toward women. They don't want to see a woman. I seen a video of Kamala speaking. They were playing it on the big screen. Homeboy literally got up off of the couch and ripped the TV off the wall and broke his television. They
That's
so
crazy.
rage filled. That's how angry he speaks to his base. Donald
Right.
Trump speaks to his base, and his base is men who hate women. His base is people who hate black people, who hate trans people, who hate LGBT people, who hate disabled people. And when I
Mm-hmm.
see those people who are disabled marching and storming into the hearings, and y'all are getting them out of there, got your hands on the wheelchairs and pushing them out of there. I'm like, this is cruelty. These people
Right.
are saying, do not cut our health care. But with this administration, they don't care. Cruelty is the point to the 10th power. And they're going to keep driving as much cruelty. This isn't over. And this man
No,
is
it's
not
not.
planning on leaving. The only two people from that house who called for impeachment was Rep. Al Green and AOC.
Yep.
Kudos to them. The rest of y'all, the Republicans in Congress and Senate who chose to sit there quiet and idly by Lisa Murkowski is talking about switching
Mm-hmm.
parties, becoming over a Democrat. You should have been there. That Joe Walsh already did it. Joe Walsh is now a
Mm-hmm.
Democrat. He was one of the ones who worked with Donald Trump in the beginning. And he said, you know what? I can't do this. I'm just
Right.
going to go on over here to the Democrat side. You
Yeah.
should have been doing that, Lisa. You were talking about how fearful you were. And for the other Republicans too, I can understand that y'all family members are being threatened. But do the right thing for your family. Do the right thing for America. Don't sit there
Mm-hmm.
idly by and just let this man tear our country to smithereens.
Right.
Because that's what he's doing. He's destroying this country from the inside out.
Oh, absolutely. And he using hate to do it. Again, guys, no matter who you like or dislike, Hatred is expensive. It will always cost you more than what it's worth.
And
I'd
then
rather love
regardless,
people. I'd rather love whether it's my brothers and sisters in the letter community, the ones that I grew up with, everything. I'd rather push love than I would push hate. Yes, people are going to get on your nerves. You're not going to be friends with everybody, but to hate entire communities or people is straight ignorance. And I don't. To me, if you're like that, and here's the deal. Even though we got to talking about Donald Trump's cronies and stuff, and majority of them are white people, right? I don't even hate white people. Man, I got some brothers that are cool as hell. I think one of them has been on your show before, Brandon Chancellor or whatever. I don't know if you
yes,
remember that name. I've had an opportunity to work with him and be around him. Love him to death. That's my brother.
he's
That's my
so
brother. He
down.
can call me up right now and say, Jason, I got a problem. We gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? I mean, he has always been cool. He's always been on my side. He supported me. I support him. He just so happened to be of a different hue. But the thing is that I don't have a hateful bone in my body for any culture.
And he
A
doesn't
lot of
either.
our
Brandon
people,
doesn't either. That's why what I loved about
right?
him when I did my interview with him. He didn't see me
Uh-huh.
as a black woman. He saw me as human. Each
Exactly.
and every one of my guests see me as human. They don't see me as woman. They see me as human. And they
I see
respect.
power. I see posture. I see someone who's trying to make changes. And to me, that is the most powerful thing that we can have. The
But
fact that
with
you're a lady
Kamala,
is just a part of it.
you know what? With Kamala, they did that to her. The
They did.
voters, they looked at her and they said, you know what? We don't want the educated black lady. We want to go
Right.
back to the 34-time convicted felon who busted his ass on those stairs. The same one who got up there in the garbage truck and looked like he had too many Casamigos, couldn't even open the damn door straight.
Very
Shout
true.
out to Ana Navarro from The View. She said he had too many Casamigos and martinis and can't even get the door open.
People
Trust me,
who
I've had
speak
friends who,
nicely.
when it's that 5 o'clock mark, when you know it's happy hour, and they had one too many drinks. Pete Hegseth
Hmm.
should know all too well about that. We saw what you had in your glass, homeboy. You ain't fooling nobody. You had two
That.
shots. You had
Yep.
two drinks up there at that podium. We caught you. You
Yep.
tried to slip one in.
Yep. Absolutely. You know what I find funny, and I think it's sad. So you got people from other countries that come over here. They go to our universities. They get highly educated. Of course, some of them ask these companies for green cards and can't get them. And then you have other people like you have your Kamala, and you have your Baracks and everything that are highly educated. And you let these people shake your tree because they show you everything that you're not. So instead of you saying, you know what, it's time to step our game up and let's get educated, let's love on one another, let's build this country, you would rather tear it down at a detriment of yourself as opposed to go pick up a book and read and get on someone else's level that just doesn't look like you.
And another reason why he attacks Harvard University is because Michelle Obama and President Barack Obama attended Harvard University, as well as the daughter, Malia. Am I correct, y'all? Let me know which
Hmm.
one, Sasha or Malia.
I,
They all
I
attended Harvard.
I think they both did, didn't they? Or no, I don't remember. But yeah, one of them definitely did. One of them definitely
That's
did.
what gets under his skin because his son Barron can't get into Harvard. Barron is
No,
not pressed about it. So why are you pressed? Because you didn't get a decent education, Donald? Your daddy literally handed everything to you.
yeah,
Fred Trump handed
absolutely.
everything to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the things that come with privilege. You got people who say, well, I don't have the privilege or whatever, and I never did anything to your people. And it's kind of like, but you do have privilege because you're still gaining wealth off of the stuff that happened 400 years ago. That's the problem. You know what I mean? So while you may not have personally done anything to me, your hue is still gaining wealth. You and I don't mean you, Stevie, I'm just saying, but some of these people that say that to me, I've told them it's like you and I can walk into a bank. I can have a door in there perfect credit score, and yours can just be all right. And ironically, you'll probably leave there with a loan before I do. And I got to prove all these different sources of income. But because you got the complexion for protection, they just automatically figure you're going to pay it back. And if you don't, they're not worried about it anyway because they're just going to write it off as a loss. Where me, I got to go in there and show 10 different forms of different bills that I paid on time. I got to have an awesome credit score. I got to talk like, like I got some doing sense and everything else. Because if I go in there talking ignorant, I'm not walking out of there with anything, no matter how much money I actually have. So,
It's
at
economics.
some point we got to get fair with a lot of things. And when we start getting fair with things as a country, we will succeed. We need more people like you, myself, Brandon, Ronson. I think he may have interviewed with you at one time as
Yes.
well. I mean, we need more people like that that's trying to build up the communities through the arts and other ways, as opposed to people who continuously try to tear things down because it either doesn't make sense to them or make them uncomfortable. The other thing I tell people all the time: you want to grow, you actually want to succeed, make yourself uncomfortable. Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. I don't mean a dangerous situation, an uncomfortable situation, whether it's in a different community, whether it's the letter community, or if you're not used to being around people in the letter community, or if it's around black people, white people, Asian, whatever. Put yourself in a different situation and open up to it. What you learn might actually surprise you. And what you start to realize is through you becoming uncomfortable and putting yourself in a situation to learn is that you actually become a better person and you get some form of understanding. Like even the neighborhood I grew up in, when I first started growing up, very well mixed. We had Indian, Asian, white, black, everything else. Then it became upper class black. Then it became to where in Houston, when they cleaned out some of the other hoods, if you will, some of the more dangerous areas, a lot of those guys ended up moving to the back of my neighborhood to the point I didn't even want to go to the back of my own door neighborhood, right? Well, you go look at my old neighborhood now is probably 70, 80% Hispanic. And I'm not talking about just your typical Latinas. I'm talking about like what I like to call originals because most of them speak Spanish, right? As their first language. And so a lot of them can't speak English, which is cool. But even going around there and being around there, you still start to see some of the changes and stuff. And it's not whether it's right or wrong, it's just a difference in the cultures. Well, when you get the cultures together, you actually can learn a lot about each other. And from that learning about each other, you start to get some form of understanding of why people move the way that they do and everything. I've been to Mexico a few times. Scary as hell for me because I don't speak Spanish. I was in Mexico City. The taxi would literally take me from the hotel, drop me off in front of one of these businesses with guards there, a big wall, guards there with fully automatic rifles, and a major language barrier between me and them. And I had to find it. You see, I'm back. This was during there 20 years ago. You see, I'm here. You find a way to function and you find a way to maneuver. Everything can't be about the way that you grew up and everything. You need to actually learn how all of these different cultures function. And from that, you can learn. I'm black. You go to Trinidad, mostly black. They don't move the exact same way. They don't eat the exact same way. You go over there and ask for an iced tea, they're gonna ask you, do you want it green, black, or do you want it what was it, green, black, or whatever the other iced tea is? I mean other tea, not iced tea. And they was like, hey, I just want an iced tea. And they was like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna bring you one of these three teas. It's gonna come in a hot glass, and I'm gonna bring you a cup of ice, and you can do what the hell you want to do with it. That's their culture. You go over there, they don't eat a lot of fried food. Burgers are tourist food. You know what I mean? So you go over there and you start to understand. No wonder why they're healthier than us over here. They walk everywhere in the sun. You got 50 and 60-year-olds walking around there still looking like they 20 and 30. But then you come over here and got 20-year-olds looking like they 50, eating all this crap that we have. So it's good to learn about other cultures and understand the reason why they move the way that they move.
Now we understand. Now we get it.
Yeah,
That's the importance. And
absolutely.
we're talking about Candace Owens, Albert. Yes, she can stay right over there.
I agree.
She
She
can stay
pandered
right over
to him.
there.
She
She
need to stay
tried to
over there. Don't come back now with your tail between your legs. Yeah, I agree.
re tried to rebrand herself. And then you got Tim Scott. Tim Scott, you
Listen,
still shucking and jiving, but you have
right.
not got a position into that cabinet. I think it's
Mm.
black people in this administration. Other than that, everybody else is white. So you will
I don't.
never,
I don't
as
like all the
Jasmine Crockett
pandering
said,
anyway.
it's the corporate, what did she say? The mediocre white boys club.
Hmm.
That's what she called it. You will never fit the caliber to get in there unless you are white. According to Pete Hegseth, it's about merit. If you're a
Hmm.
white male, If you're straight, white, male, and Christian, 9 times
Hmm.
out of 10, Republican white men are Christian. And they go
Yeah.
by these old patriarchal values. Let me see, because I don't want my phone to dial me. We got 2%, so I'm going to make it quick.
Got
Um,
you.
you've got these white men who follow these Christian values. Did y'all see the video of these white women outside the White House praying? Donald Trump does not believe. He does not. This man even said it himself. He said it himself. He's not Christian. But this is
Hmm.
what he said on the campaign trail. That should have been a doozy for you right there. That should have been a wake-up call. This is what he said. He said, Christians, get out and vote. I promise you, we'll have it fixed so good, you won't ever be able to vote again.
Yep.
And y'all are talking about impeachment. You're going to have to get half of Congress and Senate to get on board with this. We know that Republicans are not going to do it. They're
Right.
terrified. And if you think Mike Johnson, you got Mike Johnson right there too, his little lapdog. Mike Johnson will be right there at his every beck and call. It's about
Absolutely.
Christianity first.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's not
And
about
nationalism.
uh,
Yep. Absolutely.
the constituents. It's not about us. It's about them aligning
Hmm.
themselves. And y'all prayed for this big, ugly bill. There's nothing beautiful about it. Michelle Obama is beautiful. Kamala Harris
Absolutely.
is beautiful. They're beautiful women.
Absolutely.
That's beauty. There's nothing beautiful about this bill that would take away, that would close hospitals, that would take away food
Hmm.
from families to feed their children. Governor Hot Wheels out there in Texas is canceling school lunch programs. Greg Abbott.
Yeah. And it's happening. My wife is a teacher, so I mean, I get firsthand knowledge at all of this stuff. So, and it is really sad. They're trying to close down all the public schools and make everybody go to charter schools and private schools. And
Well, the
here's
white
the deal with
kids.
public. Here's the deal with charter and private schools. They can select who gets enrolled. They don't have to accept you.
This majority white. They'd be like the little house on the prairie.
Right.
You don't want
And I,
black kids to learn. See, Trump loves the poorly educated. Let me check
yeah.
and see
And
who
he
it is.
said
Yeah,
that
we will.
clearly. Clearly said it. I love my uneducated folks. Why do you think he said that so freely? If you or I were on the campaign trail and we said something like that, that'd be the end of our political career. And he said it on a big stage multiple times how much he loves his uneducated folks. And these people cheered. They weren't offended, they cheered.
It's a cult. MAGA is a cult. It is a white extremist group, and it is
Yep,
about time. But we know corporate mainstream media is not going to call it what it is because they are
correct.
in his back pockets. Did y'all see
Yep.
how they let go of Terry Moran from ABC News, or was it CBS, for critiquing Donald Trump and Stephen Miller?
Hmm.
And then George Stephanopoulos, $15 million. Does that ring a bell?
Our
How
voices are
fast
going to
y'all
get silenced.
capitulated and
Yep.
gave this man what he wanted because he don't like it. What does he call the press? The press is the enemy of the people. That's how fascists think. And see,
Yeah.
if you was in Russia over there and you published something bad about Putin, you'd go missing or wind up
Yep. You're
falling
done.
out of a third-story window. We've heard about journalists being poisoned over there from Vladimir Putin. This is no
Absolutely.
lie, y'all. This is not to put fear in you. This is what fascists do. My colleague, Conscious TV, he asked me this question. He said, do you think that Donald Trump is dangerous? Do you think that he is a fascist? I said, yes, I do. And Kamala was asked the same question too. Anderson
Yep.
Cooper asked her, do you think that Donald Trump is a fascist? That was the
Absolutely.
911 call right there. You white people, y'all should have taken the red flag and the light bulb that went off in your head and say, I'm not going to vote for this guy. Did y'all see in that town hall where that Latino man, what did he call January 6th? A day of love. And that man changed his vote. He didn't vote for him.
It's not a
Well,
day of
I don't
love. That
know
was
if he
crazy.
went into the voting booth, but he could have, he might, could have, but people will vote against their own interests. If
True.
midterms was tomorrow, people will always vote for their own interests. With the New York election is today, and I have a funny feeling in my instinct, in my gut instinct, that Andrew Cuomo will win. Zoran,
I'm not.
Zoran is good, but why is Bill Clinton out here endorsing Andrew Cuomo?
Interesting.
We
I
we
didn't know
don't
that. I
endorse.
haven't been following it as closely, mainly because of staying busy with the acting stuff and also trying to keep myself from getting overly upset through all the ignorance. But I did not know that, and that's actually good to know. I did not know that he was being
Took a
endorsed
picture
by
with him.
Clinton.
The picture's out there, y'all. Y'all go and see it. Andrew Cuomo and Bill Clinton. Why are we endorsing Andrew Cuomo? We
I
don't
mean,
need
they
to
all in
endorse
bed
him.
together.
Or
Oh,
Eric Adams. Eric
right.
Adams is another one. Black Skin said he wasn't going to critique um, Donald Trump.
That's sad. As far as I'm
That just
concerned,
makes me
anybody can
think
get it. If you're
about,
not moving right, like I said, I come from that older oligarch, and I think you and I had that conversation the first time we spoke. If
yep,
somebody's not moving right, they're gonna catch these words. I don't care what the outcome is. You know, if you move in a way that's not helping people, number one, you can't be around me, and number two, I will speak on it, no matter how uncomfortable I make anybody else. I don't have a representative. You know, this is me tenfold, you know,
the
black
same
and
here.
white, whatever else. I don't have a representative, and I think that's why most of the people in my acting community love me, or at least appear to, right? But you know, I don't have a rep. I mean, when I show up, this is who I am, and I think that we need more people like that to where they start calling these people to a square. Hey, dude, you're not moving right. We see what you're doing, and we're gonna do something about it instead of just voting them in and then turning a blind eye to it.
I think the new name for Donald Trump is can't get right. You just can't get right because you are messing up with these other countries. You're Iran.
Right.
It's if you think that these missiles that Iran just launched is it, no, it's
No, we're
more
just
to
getting
come.
started. Yeah, we're just getting
They
started.
just getting started. Like literally, Anderson Cooper and others fled a scene where they were doing coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Iran is not playing. So we just sit back. Everybody, every black person in America did their Dear Iran post. I did mine. I typed my letter. I said, Iran, me and my people did not vote for this. Black people did not vote for this. And you're hearing it
Right.
publicly from my mouth. We did not vote for this. If you're going to make your move, you head on over down to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh yeah,
Make the
absolutely.
connection in the dots. You got one that's got the
Absolutely.
eyeliner. You got one that's on the ketamine. You got one that has a drinking problem. And then you got one that sat there and sank into the couch when he was attacking President Zelensky.
Mm-hmm.
Little Marco Rubio, who they rolled the little red carpet out for him when he went to another country. Him.
Right.
So if you're going to make your movie, Ron, just make sure it's the orange man that occupies the White House on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Absolutely.
Black people, we didn't have nothing to do with this. We love y'all. We don't like how y'all treat other people over there, but we have no issues with y'all over here.
Yeah,
Black
that's
people, we
their
don't have no.
business.
So
Hey,
if
what
you're
our
gonna
mama
make
used
your
to always say, what we do in this house stays our business. What they do in other
uh-huh.
people's houses, their business. You don't talk about ours, we ain't talking about yours.
Exactly. In the words of Funky Dineva, not me, girl, not us. We don't have nothing to do with it, Iran. So I just wanted to let that be known. Sincerely, a black woman. I wanted to let y'all know that it's not us. It's not us at all. Um, we're just gonna see what's going to happen these next few couple of days because this is
Right.
not the end. Iran made their move. Now they kept information from him so he wouldn't put it out there because we know he gets on
Mm-hmm.
Truth Social. We know the man can't hold water. He will get out there
At
and he will
all.
tweet it on Truth Social,
Right.
and we'll hear about it in the morning, first thing when we wake up. We just wiping the coal out of our eyes, and we like, well, Lord, what did he tweet now? What did he put on Truth Social now? If it's not him, then it's Elon Musk. So
Mm-hmm.
the shadow presidents too. Keep an eye on them. You got J.D. Vance, Russ Vought,
Oh
and
yeah.
you got Eva Till, and then you got Stephen Miller, who's driving down on these ICE raids. He's
Mm-hmm.
wanting more. They got a quota to meet: 3,000 deportations a day.
Yeah.
So they don't care who you are. If you are from this country legally or not, be safe out here in these streets. I'm going to wrap the show with that. But Jason, what are some words of encouragement that you would give to these people, to our people in these countries?
Honestly. Honestly, I mean, and I'm a pretense this to all people. Treat each other fairly.
Yes.
Learn about the different cultures. Learn. Number one, educate yourself. Stop making excuses for being inadequate. Let's just start there. Stop making excuses for being inadequate. You know that we're under attack in terms of education, etc. Why? Because we're powerful when we're educated. Stop taking school for a joke, especially when it's free. My oldest daughter, she's in college right now. I've been paying a lot of it, but she sees that bill. And I let her know. It's like, okay, when you go off to vet school, that's on you. I paid these first 4 years. Get the education that you can get while you can get it for free. Because for my younger people out there, trust me, from a guy that's nowhere near 50, you'll appreciate it later, right?